Hello, BookTube. I'm out here in my little hideaway where I was last night, uh, watching the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fiasco on Netflix. So I've always liked watching boxing. First round was the first part of the card was weak, lower level fight, which is fine. That's typical. Next two fights were really good. The fight between in the women's category, man, that was intense. Well, when you could see it, because Netflix, which built this thing, is a big deal. They had the buffering thing all night. Everybody did it all over the world, and it was a fiasco. And then the bout between Tyson and Paul was at best choreographed. I don't know what it was. It just didn't seem like a real fight to me. And well, none of us would want Tyson to whack up upside the head. His feet looked his legs looked a little weak. So, which he's a 58-year-old guy. You know, he's probably getting a big old paycheck. Well, I know he's getting a big old paycheck for this. And then, but I mean, I stayed up late. Was very disappointed in Netflix. Very disappointed in the title bout. Two in the middle, really enjoyed. But hey, that's the way it goes. But I thought I'd go out today. I had some errands and I'd do a little bit of a book haul, which was fun. So now all the driving around and all that's done, I get to sit out here and, like I say, relax a little bit. So let me show you what I got. And we'll start here. Now, I'm trying to remember if I ever read this. There's so many of these. This is David Weber, The Shadow of Saganami. Big old thing. These are, Honor Harrington is usually the main character. And she's a starship captain, basically. I mean, these are a space opera. Well written, great fun. Like I say, I can't remember if I read this one. I've read a lot of them. I used to have a lot of them in hardcover, but saw this lying around and thought, hey, why not? I've never been disappointed. So, yeah. David Weber, The Shadow of Saganami. And that's Honor, I suppose. Honor Harrington. I'll give you a little, it's got a little tag on it there, but if you want to take a look. So, great fun there. Then to a more nautical theme. And I got quite a few of these, actually. So I'm a huge fan of Douglas Riemann. A British author. Served in the Royal Navy during World War II. He also writes Age of Sail adventures as Alexander Kent, as an alternate name. But this is Douglas Riemann, and this is Torpedo Run. And this is, war was beginning to go well for the Allies. Everywhere the Germans were falling back. Everywhere except the Black Sea. 5 British motor torpedo boats, which are my favorite warships. Fragile, almost toy-like plywood craft are pitted against the elite of the German light naval forces. Lieutenant Commander John Devane is already a veteran at 27, but nothing has prepared him for the flotilla's suicide mission on the Russian front. Nothing except being prepared to die. These are well written, great fun, very entertaining. Gotta find a place to put these things. The next one by him is Dive in the Sun. Curtis was the pro. He could steer a sub through a saloon and no one noticed. Duncan was a grumbler, more at home in the Aussie outback than 20 fathoms under the Adriatic. Jervis was the spit and polish man who knew the correct way to die, and George, the Cockney, was the toughest of them all. 4 men in the Royal Navy's smallest sub, preparing the way for history's largest invasion. They had 3 tasks: slip into a closely guarded harbor, attach a time charge to the Jerry's biggest dry dock, and escape with their lives if possible. The first 2 tasks were orders. The third was optional. Then this one here is Winged Escort. That one a little shiny. Sort of cool. She was not beautiful. She was a bastard ship. The hull of a worn-out freighter with wooden flight deck tacked on, as if by afterthought. But the escort carrier Growler was all that stood between the Allied convoy and the swarming U-boats that fed on ships and men. Rowan flew the lead Seafire, off Growler's pitching deck. This was his first command, and perhaps his last. A handful of flyers, men too young, in planes too old, locked in mortal combat with 2 relentless enemies, the Germans and the North Atlantic. Then here is the Pride and Anguish. They called it the Gibraltar of the Far East, a British rock that could not be taken, but suddenly, in a lightning blow, Singapore is defeated. Call it incompetence or call it false pride, it doesn't really matter. The warplanes of the Rising Sun commanded the skies, and 2 officers and a battered gunboat are all that is left of England's empire in the East. And then the last of these is The Greatest Enemy. Old and worn out from service, the frigate Terpin carried the ghosts of men she'd made and broken. She was on patrol in the still waters of the China Sea when she came under surprise attack by guerrillas ferrying fuel to a deadly submarine hovering near shore. Captain Dalziel knew the Terrapin was his last command, but to keep the peace, he had to be prepared for war. So those are Douglas Freeman ones, which I always enjoy. Got a couple Star Trek. This one I haven't read. Death in Winter, Star Trek Next Generation by Michael Jan Friedman. Long before Captain Jean-Luc Picard took command of the Starship Enterprise, he fell deeply and hopelessly in love with Dr. Beverly Crusher. That could be bad news. I've talked to that fella. And then another Star Trek novel, Star Trek Insurrection. The movie. Let's see, do they have any stills from the movie? So Star Trek The Next Generation. So Star Trek Insurrection reunites hugely popular crew of Star Trek The Next Generation. So it's the movie adaptation is J.M. Dillard, who's usually a pretty good writer. So I don't think I ever read this. I may have when the movie came out or something. But give it a shot. Got another paperback here, one of these old Penguin books. John Buchan. This is complete and unabridged. Green Mantle. Richard Haney undertakes a perilous mission in pursuit of the elusive Green Mantle. His success or failure could change the outcome of the First World War. This is by the author famous for the 39 Steps, right? So I've never read this. I think I've heard of it, but I've never read it. It's something I have read, but don't have a copy of anymore. These things, you see them everywhere. This is the Essays of E.B. White. I've got his letters inside. A good companion on a winter's evening to sit down and have a conversation with. He was big time with the New Yorker and, Charlotte's Web and all that. Then a bit of history. We got American Scripture, Making the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, by Pauline Maier. On the one of the Vermont 250th anniversary commissions right now for this. We're working on a big project. And I have heard of this, and I have never read this, which is sort of strange. When did it come out? It came out, it's Alfred Knopf book, 97. I don't know how I never got to it. I mean, I know about it, and honestly, it just never happened. So this is actually going to help me in the project we're doing for Vermont 250 with 250th, and the whole United States is doing every state. So looking forward to that. Then a very famous book, David Howarth, I really like him. This is 1066, the year of the Conquest. The historian who can really tell a story. Let's see. Everyone knows 1066 is the date of the Norman invasion and conquest of England. And this is just going to put that in context. A little chapter editor illustrations there. I thought I just saw it. Yeah, there's so many different editions of this volume. And like I say, this is an author I always feel like I can get along with. So I'm glad to have it. Then the last two sort of go together. I'm a big fan of Lonesome Dove, Larry McMurtry. I've also read his little sort of autobiographical. How was that? That took a lot of work, didn't it? Books about books. So I have a few of those. I've read those. But I grabbed a couple of others that I haven't read and that I've been meaning to get to, so I found some decent hardcovers. This is Comanche Moon, the final volume of the Lonesome Dove saga. So every one of these things was $1, so I'll give you an idea how much it puts you back. I went up to Listen, a charity shop up in New Hampshire. So I need to get to this. I need to do the whole... I probably should do a reread of Lonesome Dove and then just go right through. So, the thing weighs a lot. Must be the paper. And then the other one I got is Some Can Whistle. Know nothing about this. I've seen it before, but I've never read it. To see Danny Deck, the hero of All My Friends Are Going to Be Strangers, is now a successful middle-aged Texas writer. Go figure. Well, so I'm not going to do a Steve Donahue book pyramid with this stuff. I just wanted to check in. Boy, it's getting cold around here. So most mornings low 20s Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is Celsius. So 32 is freezing. So make the conversion, I guess. What, 4, 5, 6 degrees, whatever. Depending on what day it is, below freezing. So there's frost on everything. And but it's nice, brilliant blue days. Windy, a lot of wind lately, but like I say, very clear skies. But we're in a drought. It's not a common thing in Vermont. I go by the rivers. Some of you have seen my pictures of the flood last year. How big and powerful that river can be. It's nothing. It's a little stream. And rocks, the riverbed, on each side. It's just unbelievable. Drove by a farm today, and their duck pond, which is always full of ducks and very pretty and all that, it's ground. It's just, I've never seen anything like it. So, yeah, drought. But hopefully next week we'll get some rain. It's been a summer without much rain. I remember a couple years ago here, it seemed like it rained every day. So, it's the weather. It's all over the place. So I hope you're all doing well. And we will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.